City, Mcphail. Michael, thank you for coming. Michael's going to say a few words. I'd like to have acknowledge the fact that Tim Nixon's here, who operates our border wake, and he's going to go on land this year again, and he does an excellent job. And most importantly, I want to make sure that I thank the media for coming today. It's very important to us to have you as great sponsors, partners of our event. Without you, quite frankly, it'd be a difficult task, to say the least. I'd like to just quickly review the three fundamental reasons why we started the birth of this festival. And first of all, we did it we did it to honor the memory of Chris Dawson on behalf of Glenn and the Dawson family. Now Rob is one of our co-organizers of the event, and then we also have representing the memory of the iconic Jim Stokely, who was a true promoter and cheerleader of our community. And then once again, all the proceeds generated from after the cost will go to all the charities in certain specific charities in the community. Number two, we wanted to utilize our God-given gift of our fabulous waterfront assets. We feel it's the nicest waterfronts in the Great Lakes. This year, once again, we'll have the international boat race, which is international between the two communities. We'll have 35 to 40 go-fast boats, and we've had them on display out here. We have two of our pace boats out here today. We want to acknowledge Skylar Bauer for bringing two of his boats here today to make some sound. So it's also very important to make sure that we thank OPA, Offshore Powerboating Association, who's joined us. The last reason is to provide our community an outside tourist guest the experience this phenomenal asset at a no-fee charge to the general public. And in addition to that, I'd be remiss not to mention the fact that our friends from Greek Fest are having their event 1 week prior, so it's an extravaganza of literally 7-10 days of whereby the community itself can really benefit off downtown and our beautiful waterfront. With this in mind, we have our sponsorship partners stepping up the plate to enable this no fee or charge. And this year we have presenting sponsors of Mr. Atchison from Atchison Ventures on the U.S. side. He's a huge, major sponsor on the U.S. side to make this thing happen this year as part and parcel of our organization over there. We also have OLG as a major presenting sponsor. And this year it was because of one individual only, that stepped up the plate. And it's Mike Maitland from Leuna, and Leuna has stepped up as a presenting sponsor. Michael, thank you very much for stepping up to the plate. Really do appreciate it. We also have some major sponsors here that have joined us today. We have Andy Pilot from the Sarnia Construction Association. Andy, thank you very much. We have Roy Botma from the Botma family. Sarnia Concrete and Cope stepping up to the plate this year, which is great. Thank you very much, Roy. And we also have affectionately called the Godfather, Ray Kern, that's sort of stepping up to the plate this year. So once again, gentlemen, thank you very much for assisting. We have a number of other sponsors that we'll certainly highlight, but certainly it's important to make sure that they do. One other important thing is we've had an incredible amount of assistance from the city. Margaret Evans and Beth Gignac have done a wonderful job assisting us this year, and it's important that all people realize that the city staff, under the guidance of our mayor and our council members, including Michael, of course, have been fabulous in making sure they support us accordingly. So this is very, very important to make sure. I'd be also remiss not to mention that we have one phenomenal team of volunteers. And we have two co-chairs, four co-chairs on this side of the river. We have David and Sharon Mcphail, and we have Denise and Mary Rimple. They're sitting at the back table. We'll have to make sure we acknowledge those folks. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce our co-organizer of the event, Rob Dawson, to take forward from here. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, David. Just a few words to reiterate what Dave has already talked about. We're so excited about this year's event. A big portion of a reason why our organizing committee has chosen to continue it on and to keep growing it is the fact that it's a community-based organization. With the free events on the Sunday, the Powerboat races, how we priced the concerts this year, we're really reaching out to the community to support it, and the best way they can do that is by coming out and attending it. So we're looking forward to everyone's participation and seeing everyone throughout that weekend. Thanks to the sponsors, obviously the city. Dave's going to talk a little bit more about that. And now I'm going to introduce Dave Mcphail to talk about the co-chairs roles and some further details. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob and Dave. I was going to speak, but Dave's taken all my information that I gave him, and he took it for his own. And you know how that works. You'll hear people on the street. Some people will not be as exuberant about this whole effort as we are in here, and some will not be quite as excited about it. And I learned a line in 1985 when this marina opened by a gentleman for whom I have great respect. It's a lot easier to throw spears than it is to catch them. And Mr. Brandt, I thank you for that. I've had a lot of good use out of that. People that didn't like it, I always gave you the credit. The interesting thing about this whole process is that over 50 years ago, our city fathers had the vision to put the waterfront in our community like it is today. 5 years ago, another young man had the vision, David S. Brown, to make something happen on the water and take advantage of what we have. It is indeed, David, one of the greatest assets that the community has, and we have a lot of them, and it is one of the nicest waterfronts on the Great Lakes. And we are very, very honored to be, Sharon and I, to be co-chairs along with Denise and Murray Rimple. And people say, what do you do in retirement? And you say, you try to get a bit of sleep once in a while. Because we've been very busy with this. There's a lot of work to this. And there's hundreds of volunteers that make this happen. There's a key leadership team that works like crazy to make this happen. And we're just honored to be part of it and to be here with it. This couldn't happen without the support of the city. We've had a lot of meetings with our people at the city, whether it be Parks and Recreation, the city manager, the clerk's office, or the engineering department, and they have been just unbelievable in helping us get this together. There are a lot of things that have to be done for various reasons being that we have to have them there so that people are safe. And so we have a lot of hoops that we jump through, but we jump through them with ease because we get that kind of support. And we do have, as David has said, we have Mike Kelch, who's representing the city today. And I'd like to ask Mike if you'd come forward, Mike, and make a few comments.
Well, thanks, Dave, for the opportunity to give a few words from the city's perspective. Councils don't always agree on everything, but this council is definitely in agreement that this is a huge deal for Sarnia. And I am really happy to hear Dave Mcphail and Dave Brown talk to me about how the city is really helping out to make this happen. Because the last thing we want as a council is to have the city be an impediment to what you're trying to do. And I can remember when Dave put the motion in front of council, probably 5 years ago, Dave, thereabouts. We had just lost Bayfest. There was a huge hole in the city's events in the summertime. It was a sad time for me because I was a huge Bayfest fan. And then this event just came in, and Dave was taking a chance, a risk, and probably council was too, a little bit. Was this thing going to work? Was there an audience for it? And if you take a look at the population numbers, the head counts year after year after year, this thing has just grown exponentially. So it is a huge deal for the city. My parents are 84 years old, Brad and Isabel Kelch. They live in First Sarnia Place, which is the old Polysar building, and they can't wait for this thing to come. Every year they get out there, they love it. I asked my mom, don't the bands bother you? She said, bring them on. So for anyone who complains to me about noise or any of that stuff, that's my response to them, and usually they don't have an answer for that. So thank you for everyone who's putting the work in to make this happen. It's going to be a great event for Sarnia. Every member of council is 100% behind this. So thanks to everybody. We'll see you there.
Thanks, Mike. The Chris Dawson Foundation and the Jim Stokely Foundation have already been mentioned, but the Blue Water Taekwondo, St. Clair Taekwondo, and Blue Water Boxing Club have also been recipients of monies from past events. And that's important that people know that what a great big effort can raise some money, and that money goes back to the community. And that money going back to the community is our goal. Our goal is to raise as much as we can, and we want to do that for the people that give their time. And people that give their time get rewarded for that. In 2013, we had approximately 18,000 people that showed up to this event. Last year, we had probably 35,000. And as co-chairs, it is our goal that we're going to eclipse that this year. And with the help of the support and the people in the community, the volunteers, the media, and everybody that's involved, we anticipate that we can do that, because this is really, really a great signature event for Sarnia Lambton. And I'm going to ask Vicki Mcphail from Tourism Sarnia Lambton to give you a bit of information about the event and what it really means to our community.
Thanks, Dave. Obviously, this is truly a signature event for Sarnia. It brings over $1 million in economic impact. Tourism is the third largest industry in our community. Tourism is third after petrochemical and agriculture. So this signature event is very important for our waterfront and our community. As Dave said, they're anticipating over 35,000 people coming to our waterfront, and that's something that is priceless for our community. It's a great way to showcase our community and what we have to offer, and we're so excited to be part of this event and help promote and bring more tourists into our area. Thank you.
Thanks.
At one time in my life when I had a real job and I was a principal of Southeast Sarnia School, there were over 35% of the kids in that school that had never seen the river. Now you probably think I'm giving you the gears here. I'm not. That's a reality. And so one of the efforts that we try to do is to make a major part of our event free to families. And that is so important that we allow families to come and be on the waterfront at the rail and watch. We have a section where people pay, and we do block that 350 feet off for 7 hours. 7 hours out of the year of approximately 8,000 or 9,000 hours doesn't really hurt all that much. It's not really a big deal. Those people pay so that we can run the boats on the river. But we have another group that works really hard with us, and that's our Greek community. And I'd like to ask Andy Xanthopoulos to come forward and say a few words. Andy?
Hello. Hi to everyone. About my name, of course. Well, I'm very pleased to be here to talk a little bit about Greek Fest, not too long, because we are very happy and very proud this year to celebrate a milestone 10 years anniversary for Greek Fest. We started obviously 10 years ago one-day event in a very timid way in the parking lot of the church. Was basically a try and error the first year. Then we went from one-day event. 4 years later, we make it 2 days event. And lasted until last year. And last year, I think I have to give credit to Dave, because that was his idea, why you don't move to downtown area. And we started in collaboration with the boat racing. And we moved, and we make 3 days event. And to this year will be the second year with 3 days event. And not only that, we plan to continue Greek Fest for the years to come. Most of you may know that we applied to the city to have their permission to use the parking lot for the next 5 years. And gracefully, the city provided that, approved it, certainly in principle. The festival basically is about Greek culture. That's how it started. The Greek culture, the food, the music, the dancing. Then over the years, we started putting some entertainment and some multicultural groups dancing or entertaining. And we'll continue this way. This year, we start on first Friday, which is the August 5th. And we'll have a new band, live band from Toronto, that will be for Friday and Saturday. And Sunday we'll have DJ, which will be the Fabian Jago that most of you people know. He's a very good man. We'll make some small changes in the food area to satisfy, if you like, more people, and have some changes always. But the big change will be in the drinks area. We'll make the arrangement, and the Refined Full Brewery will prepare special beer for Greek Fest. We don't know the name yet, but soon we'll have the name of the new beer. The Greek Fest will start basically on first Monday, which is August 5th. We'll have Saturday the 6th, and we'll end on the 7th. First of all, I would like to thank all our sponsors. I would like to thank Dave for all support he gave us. And also, I would like to mention that Bayside Center became our title sponsor this year for the first time. And this is a visionary man, and he has a number of ideas about downtown, which we are very pleased to have him with us. And as I said, the Greek Fest starts on the 5th, 6th, and 7th, the first weekend, and then the second weekend will be the racing. And I hope that will be a prelude to what is coming. I would like to visualize that the first week in August, in the future, I don't know when, will become really a week that attracts too many visitors in the area. We have the first weekend with Greek Fest. We have the last weekend with the boat, if you like. We have in between a number of days. If eventually we have the yacht clubs and the marinas organizing few events on the water, which is a big asset for us. We have some travel agents organizing cultural trips to the exhibitions, to the art center, to the Bones and Bone Museum. And if we have some activities, programs from the merchants to attract more people, eventually we may have 1 week that starts with the Greek Fest, have all people there, and have Saturday, following Saturday, the concerts, and Sunday the big bang with the races. And that is hopefully what happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Val, and my apologies. I don't know how I got Andy in there, but I was so busy working at your last name, I got all mixed up with the first name. And I got the last name right. Like, go figure that I couldn't come up with Val. My gosh, that's really good. I want you to take a look at three people, three men-type people up here. There are three people up here who were born, raised, and have stayed in Sarnia. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because we have learned that this is one of the best places to be in Canada. We went away to school, all three of us, and we came back. And we have worked hard to try and give back to the city, and nobody has tried harder to give back to this community than David Brown. David is very visionary when it comes to doing the things that he has done for this community, and especially this race. He looked at the race, and we've had the opportunity at various times being involved with the race to talk to some of the drivers and some of the organizers, and they say in their race sites, this is the best they have of some 10 sites or thereabouts that they race every season, because they're close. They're close on the U.S. side, but they're closer on our side. It's almost, you can reach out and touch someone, and that's not a commercial for any telephone company, by the way. And those of you who stand by that fence when those boats go by know that if you don't watch out, you could get a bath while you're standing there. But we'll have 35 boats there, and they'll range when they go on their speed. I better get this right, because I know 40 years ago we went to this road. I still think in terms of miles per hour, but they run from about 100 kilometers an hour to 160 miles an hour. You can do the math. 1.625 times whatever that works out to be. The reality is, it's a tough course. You think they just race round and round and round and round. Many of them are classed so they can't go over a certain speed. So when they're running down at a 6-knot current, they've got to throttle back and be careful. And when they're coming up against it, they got to throttle up. And they got to watch that very carefully, because they have a GPS that they take off the boat when they get it ashore in Port Huron, and that GPS is taken immediately and checked. Did this boat go over the threshold? And if it did, it's assessed penalties. So it's a great weekend. It's a great opportunity. And I'm going to ask you people to do just one simple thing. I'm going to ask each of you here to go from this place forth and ask 2 people to show up on the 12th, 13th, and 14th. Those 2 people you're going to ask 2 people. And those that they ask will ask 2 people. And if you know anything about mathematics and how quickly that will add up, by the time they finish talking to just a few people, we'll have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands on the waterfront for an event that no other area in this province can talk about. We are blessed with our community. We're blessed where we are, being at the bottom end of Lake Huron and on St. Clair River, and by golly, we take advantage of it. So thank you for being here today, and come out to the event. And what did I miss?
Somebody should speak to the bands.
I'm going to turn that back over to Mr. Dowsan.
Sure, that's great. As we released, great point, Sharon, co-chair, awesome for reminding us. So our Friday night, we have Monster Truck coming to Sarnia. Their first time in our community. We're real excited about that. And on Saturday night, we have I Mother Earth with Edwin will be the headline act downtown. And this week, over the next day, we'll be releasing the opening bands for both nights, of which are local bands. We're real excited to be announcing them as well. We just got approvals via email right before this conference. So that will go out on our website, social media, and whatnot, and that should be out within the next 24 hours.
Yeah, Kara, will you get Brian for me, please? This, obviously this is very important to all of us. It's very important to our community. Once again, I can't reiterate the fact that the media itself is phenomenal. Our chamber is great promoters. We have an incredible team, and our sponsors are so important. So when you're on the boat, please shake those hands of the sponsors. Please thank the media, because without you folks, this thing would not be as successful as it is. And quite frankly, we have our friend from TV London today, Nick Paparella. Nick came out here, and Nick, thank you for coming all the way down here. Do really appreciate it, Nick. And
it's because of you, you're a good guy.
Thanks, Nick. It's also important to note is Brian? Okay. A part and parcel of our family of businesses is our dockside operation here, and our friend Brian and his wife have been gracious enough to allow us to have this event in here today. Thank you very much, Brian. Really appreciate it. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.